That time I got reincarnated as a slime Shuna'S Avengers. Based on the Fuse light novel. Today's mood solemn. Today's mood grim. Your Tempest Federation leader Rimuru Tempest organizes some of his most fearsome executives gathered in the meeting hall. All seated round the great table. Secretaries Shion dressed in a Western-style purple business suit and light green shirt, glasses framing the face, and Diablo as a butler stand, flanking their lord either side. Carrera and Benimaru among the seated. Mournful glances from many his way. The total gathered to their master exceed 20 of, including generally deemed non-combatants like weaponsmith Kurub the Kitchen, chiefly Rigurd the Hobgoblin, his prime minister, and very first named subordinate. Once Rimuru named him and defended the then primitive village, goblins flocked from other Jura forest villages, and joined in audacity they left Rigurds to his fate to preserve theirs. Rigurd, Rigurd and female Goblina, Lilina, the four bestowed title Goblin Lord, serving under Rigurd in cabinet and had respective branches. His heart grieved, nevertheless feels a strong face is best. A child's stature, long blue hair, golden eyes, white skin. Conflicted I am about maintaining strength before you all and a heavy heart weighing me down. Peeking through the large windows from the adjoining outside are numerous subordinate monsters, silly to bet without curious eye. So want to break down and cry. I'm conflicted doing it in front my subjects, my friends. Belled, a giant muscular pig race, comfortingly, to cry is to be human. Tears proof haven't lost what it is from your world to this one. His prime minister, that very humanity is what created the kindness you've bestowed us monsters. Ermixtol's a dear friend and celebrates their contribution to Tempest Town. Chancing upon the ogre's first time wasn't the most amiable of introductions began him. Crafting the goblin village into what amounts to our town had begun in earnest with dwarven help. The ogres attacked a hunting party, when my calming words fell on deaf ears, one ogre and one ogre alone stopped Benimaru and I killing each other. She the one. Back in our village developed our nation in ways only she could imagine. My dream wouldn't take shape today into what it has without her. Later risked her life fighting for our town and knowingly doing so. Meeting the ogres an appointment with fate I don't regret. And now only left us her essence in our hearts. Beld reiterates his master Tempest Town, the Jura Tempest Federation, could never have beheld its zenith absent a kind, humane, industrious spirit. A part of our home is missing now that she's. Tempest places ultimate responsibility on his shoulders. Please forgive me. Literally bowing his head. One subordinate speaks for all, trying dissuading him and pledge loyalty. Rigurd's insistence radiating from his body, not your burden to carry. Shuna would think no less of you, a monster who'd love you for what you've done for people who didn't deserve a slime governing us. The hobgoblin's eyes piercing. Saoi, we shall follow you into the depths. Rimuru, Shuna was as less a subordinate than a comrade. He sighs and continues, Shuna's death shall not go unanswered. Her memorial has taken place, attended by many denizens of town Tempest. Soon hereafter the tone shifts to vengeance. Imposing Kijin grew up with Shuna at the time before the village grew into a town, were without names and each simple ogre. There's competition among executives to see which among them shall go themselves. That is shut down and reiterated by Rimuru. This is a team mission. The compact team. Reading Saoi, a handsome blue-haired man, horn protruding out the forehead, who gained a name from their lord and became a Kijin, felt his time to rise from his seat. Serves as Tempest's spymaster. As familiar we had no expectation of hostile actions, least of all murder. Tone calm as always, an ogre whose origin the same village as the others. His calm demeanor mustn't be taken as not bereaved. Pain clutched inside. His last word a critical one, for introduces to minds what to make of the enemy. They aren't warriors. Chance for this to happen was only possible with contact to their people. We of the intelligence service and Tempest in general foresaw no danger I once understood. We only knew their colors when they sank their fangs. Indications committed this grievous act nestles in a hatred of monster-born races. Takuro, that Western Holy Church's handprint. But we were clueless they carried religious stick there. Else we'd not in a million years let Princess Shuna within a mile of their fangs. Absence of any religious leanings makes me conclude are impious. Make up for it skewing an anti-monster bias. He goes on to information on the settlement that killed her. Regarding specifics of the place. Chandragil named by an attendee, a grey-haired Takuro, the Kijin and master of the blade, with the title instructor. Was present alongside the ogres when Rimuru first met their band. Last 6 survivors of their village laid waste to the orc hands. To be flattened, says Guld. Chandragil would be the land it passed through. Takuro, his eyes subtly glances to the orc lord, and flattened easier said than realized. Takuro, Heimth. Communities typically remain one place. Inhabitants often travel from the community to live or visit a new place. Well, what became of them? They left Chandragil behind. Is the blunt emotionless product. Collective stares in and outside the hull. The information wasn't known at the time Shuna made contact. This town can walk on the ground with legs and goes by name Talmur. Shocking as that may be, Rimuru ponders, hand under the chin, I'll fight the skeptical urge. Prime Minister Rigurd moves one place to another, an entire town able to walk. Not too far outside reality in a magical world, is it? Rimuru proffers. The enemy resides in a relocatable town, reiterates Saoi. Far be it from me to say the only one. Existed a floating type by the name Temrin. Reports suggest something befell it. Eyes fell on Benimaru. The young red-haired man, Tempest's top general, commanding all forces save for the Demon Corporation black numbers. Voiceless stares aplenty to lay bare collective thoughts. Unfair saying to you companions with a straight face, I'm ready to let or I'm not torn up inside. Our village, our people destroyed and unburied, Princess Shuna the closest to family, my only blood left alive. I'd give the world for sister's sake. Her smile and warmth the world's barren without those. Shuna would have no reason to be on guard, she wasn't on a military mission, but extended a bridge of friendship. In light of things, I must strengthen my heart and lead, for my sake. I beseech you, Lord Rimuru. For sister. I know how you feel, Beanie. You can't. Tempest is cut off at the knees. A silence cuts into the hull. His mind had weighed the best requirements of the mission when the albatross on his neck. He'd harbored doubt about his trusted subordinate's emotional state. Logic dictates and lost sight of a brother's love. Promptly as he prayed the weight wouldn't drag him under. Carrera, Shion, Diablo, Zegion, team leader Benimaru, your mission commander. Be the exemplars of decimation. Only out of concern, Hobgoblin Regret expresses, was Shion away his official bodyguard, who'll guard master. In a flash, purple eyes pierce him like fire. She wouldn't have her mission stolen. The large wolf creature Ranga, up high and sitting on his haunches on the floor, forever been that to master, his faithful companion. He adds some sim talk happily, my master can top any challenger. Diablo nods his head. Acknowledge my thanks, Ranga, she appreciative. He grins. In her heart of hearts a weight taken off. Rimuru knows she grew up in the same village as Shuna. Chose to squelch the momentarily welling thought her passionate nature at the helm. Dawn, now known as Carrera, stands. Pledges ardently, hand on her chest, Millard, Shuna'S Avengers shan't leave one brick upon the other. Saoi in no uncertain terms says we'll have to track the town from scarce information. Solemnly Tempest directs his gaze to brother. My vow, do what I can, shall resurrect her. Tempest, true demon lord, carries a guilty cross. Team departed, stands alone in the room, Rimuru confides in himself, frankly it's my fault this befell her. Can't do it myself because of the savagery I display. I'm scared of what I might do. I'd slain people, those cases always when the other party picked a fight. Why must this feeling reach me? Too many times to count one to peace with the humans, yet here am I conflicted, all the more suspecting this strike force might exhibit nature I love. To let Shuna slide, things considered, sends a weak message. Try as I might, human inside. Footprints are left upon several lands and ground types. Began older and progressively turned fresher. Its majesty towers above this part of the valley floor. The team beholds the huge mechanical legs, the flat plate-like surface it supports and various buildings on top. The day clear. They stood a few thousand yards distance. The subject of their attention spans around 2,000 feet diameter. Shuna'S Avengers closer still at a few hundred feet. Saoi hadn't exaggerated. They take it in for what it was. Attached to the plate's underside, a huge and metallic protrusion and situated between the legs. The town literally walked on 6 legs slowly, each appendage tens of feet high and thick to a smaller but great width. The sound of a low quake emanates each step. The humanoid insect Zegion observes quietly, certainly a marvel of imagination and construction. Diablo, other hand, grandeur spoiled when creators chose slighting the master. Good as ruin. Am I right, friends? They nodded. In their mind the fate was sealed. Only a matter of telling them. Tracking this behemoth went well, says Shion. Let's get aboard and expose their folly. The team has advanced to beside the mini metropolis, lurking in its shadow and no sign of being detected. They look up at the underneath, sound of its intermittent steps near deafening. The mild ground quake each produces more pronounced this range and entire place's movement is slow walk. Diablo, the town doesn't facilitate teleportation magic. Benimaru, the counter-teleportation magic we feel. Shion wears a skin-tight outfit substituting her glasses and purple secretary top and pants. A neck choker, connected to gray and semi-transparent material covering the upper arms to the top of those enormous breasts, and extending from this gray material, is from slightly above the elbow to wrists covered in a purple attire. Finally, from approximately halfway down those breasts from bottom of the gray material is the same purple one, fitting tight on the torso down the bottom of the feet, where black heels a few inches high. Over her back a large scabbard. Truly a sexy woman in purple. She changes her mind and says just cast a destructive spell then and there. The group decide to infiltrate and undermine subtly instead of a brawl, contrary to Shion. Carrera's reason lay with, let's break the door down, get in, rock their shit. Benimaru, I'd be lying to say I am not apathetic to brute force. Given the circumstance, to be expected. The powerful-looking Zegion in a black exoskeleton with gold joints, might there be a more subtle way? Benimaru interjects, likes of them shouldn't breathe another minute. Would have us go easy. Our lord's order is crystal. No? I'd have us enter humane. Supposing innocents pay. And the Lord's order really you wish. Don't handle me, Zegion. Carrera complained as if a head scratcher and literally did so. Huh. They're gonna get decimated anyhow. Strength considered not outside realm of probability. Master Rimuru instructed decimation. Benimaru exists a jagged line to cross into slaughter. Diablo chimes in, Master both destroys and spares indisputably. Feel it best, advantageous to poke around first. Sae would appreciate the intelligence. The blonde and exceedingly comely skullgirl like Carrera wasn't convinced, just for his record, because there'll be nothing left he can work with. Scalpel and hammer should trade places, he says. Next glances to Benimaru bluntly. Benimaru, you're not of the right mental constitution for scouting. Once we're aboard I'll conduct Antonally solemn, indulge my fundamental question, have I for the town? Carrera willed herself ride the flow. Shion had the ball, anyhow grab by the horns and climb. An awesome fashion leap up, jump by jump upon a moving titanic leg. Supernatural coordination. Aboard, look around cautiously. The aspects of a built-up town clearly there inside its boundary, the outskirts. From there gives a majestic view of the distant vista, a mild breeze touches everyone. Alright, I'm off. With that he took to walking. Nothing out the ordinary. Under bright blue sky explored, found friendly population and pleasant tranquil, running slowly, denizens rode it casually going about their affairs. Tempest, the city created its own magic terrain. Amenities and building design are generally Spartan, conversely the place clean and well maintained. Curiously no sign of a defense force, the inhabitants from indicators reside tranquilly. What possessed anyone to lay a finger on a princess? He asks himself. Not so much as a sign of menace. The people live in peace, indicators told him. He learns of the leader and his location. The windows swing open, distracting a man from his conversation in the mayor's town hall office. Neither of the two men would get to wonder as nobody touched it when the man in his 70s yelps, a phantom. He flinches. The black, scary ghostly form with red eyes, hovering inches above the ground. If only I could say good day. Came to this place to ensure it doesn't see the next one after all. Who are you? Many things, for now destroyer. He decides to turn it around. Who would you be? Shkol. What rank are you? What? Answer. Mayor. And as for this one, addressing the man who'd been distracted. What are you? Charm. A sub-skill. Mesmerizes targets under his unique skill Tempter. His other sub-skill, Chant Annulment, negates need to speak, then again nothing like a little mind game. Chief Secretary Dufferson. Thought domination makes your mind under his control once softened by charm. A somewhat younger fellow in his 60s, tasked with administration. A subordinate. Take it you lead town, Mayor. I do. There's no hint of a defense force. That indicates you have none. There's no need. We travel lands unmolested, but you're something else. Dufferson, a monster of some kind wanting to stop us passing. Even under influence targets can speak ill of their new master. Talmur passes where it wants. Grand scheme of things I'd never impede your town. Your fate sealed by your ignoble betrayal of Shuna from Tempest. Shkol, surprise written on his face, that monster girl relates to you. Master of Tempest, Rimuru, entreated us to destroy this town. A grim statement. Us? Says bemused Dufferson. I won't dispute you murdered Master's dearest companion. This atonement would stand incomplete with this fundamental question unanswered. He remorse to his humanesque normal form near instantly. Meeting back with the group, Diablo relays the answer. Mystery why you didn't finish them both then, and there replies an aggravated Benimaru. Carrera clenched her fist in shared rage. Benimaru, that's how little my sister mattered. Natural superiority has all but one aim, and our lessers cannot accept the same they told you. Several dozen small embers float from his body. Shion's attractive face is utter dread. She finishes, her death the nature of things and nature cannot be changed, and outsiders cannot accept the same. They cannot fathom our intelligence, nor steadfastness is what they spit. Benimaru, her death a trifle, Teeth clenched. Diablo is theatrical about extermination. Young and old shall face a purge in their own town. Men shall speak of it for ages to come. Willing to destroy with the innocent denizens if present Zegion looks on quietly. Dawn, tired of recon, let's give 'em a smackdown they won't forget. The black-haired Diablo tells his group they'll head over as one to the town hall epicenter of the planned destruction. The mayor instructed to wait there. The group leaped rooftop to rooftop, from pole top to pole top, and even supremely acrobatically ran along a home's gallery railing. Out the blue, Diablo gives warning to hurry. Landing with authority to the ground in front town hall, the group found the confident secretary, and even more so mayor waiting. He leers down at the would-be destroyers from a tall podium, who have to look upward at him. His psychological attempt at turning tables. So, you killed my sister, says not asks, the firebrand. And my best friend adds Shion. I'm Benimaru. Needless to say, tension electrifies the air. Denizens are going about their travel a few dozen feet away on the edge of hall grounds. Dufferson stood beside the tall podium. Shkol in all subtlety, the best a monster is deserving of. To protect Talmur, elimination of the spy the only course. Benimaru incensed, besmirched Shuna'S name with lies. We have Sae and Moss to spy you out if wanted. My sister stretched her hand out in peace. Shion clenched her teeth. She died as she was. We'll do all it takes to protect Talmur. Lord Rimuru bestowed the strength to rip you apart. Benimaru promises. We're to smash your superiority into the dirt. Hell is merely round the corner. The mayor scoffs. Dufferson, as if your ramshackle could stand up to superiority. Sound of a soft hand clap silences all. One last thing before the end. Speaking calmly, Diablo, sense abnormality I did in my manipulation skill applied to you both. Why he urged them rush over. The target skull explains, delayed resistance. The demon's will-bending expertise worked, however are strong enough to resist forced loyalty, albeit took a while given the strength of the caster. Carrera impatiently yells, enough talk, you're going to die. She grins, eager. The mayor made a call out, raising the arm skyward. Unique skill Cosmopolis isolation barrier. With that semi-transparent, near invisible save for a faint verdurous color, encloses the podium, the secretary within too. No call-out needed to signal the denizens to increasingly mass. Emerging out buildings are stopped walking and rushed over in frenzy, their faces war madness. Making ineffective attacks all the while. Rush in to strike bare-handed or with what improvised weapon at hand like bags or umbrellas. The denizens land ahead a couple times with fists. Most times simply comically evaded. Unique skill murderous stram. From afar a distant light and approaching ever closer and speedily. Appearance of headlamp at the front, a stretched body that became much lengthier, very train-like in size, and propelled faster of 350 miles per hour, compared to its initial low-speed peaceful transport version to knock down any victim. No rail to guide its path, could travel any part of town. So fast passes through the battlefield and vanishes in a matter of scant seconds. Didn't rely on any track, the invaders forced to leap out his path. During his passage is a roar, the vehicle displacing the wind powerfully, equivalent to a gust, ruffling clothes and hair. Carrera's skirt flutters. Diablo remarks, that tram doesn't look like one now. Emits a potent magicule level. It the world's measurement of energy. Benimaru, this guy can control a machine by magicule. Able to appear at any time from this point and does without a call-out. Zegion had renewed his desire to preserve life again, despite the people renewing their attacks no sooner had the tram sped past. In his view calmly saying because the mayor doesn't respect his people's lives, isn't excuse for servants of Lord Rimuru to fall in disrepute. Denizens continue to arrive, at this point a large mass virtually surrounding the group like a ravaging pack. Zegion is attempting to prevent the worst harm and wasn't his party to fear. To hell with your altruism, insect seeds Benimaru. Shion flicks an attacker, sprawling them backward with a single finger. No right giving a damn. But anybody has a plan, don't hold your peace. Lamplights herald the tram's approach, a few people moved out the way forcibly by a couple of the invaders' super speed, in the moment about to hit some in the path. As before blasts through and gone in barely an eye blink. Black speaks up, my reality exchange skill can transfer the mob to safety and out of our hair. Carrera, really Diablo. Then hop to it. Catches skull, so we finally have a name to peg Diablo. Ignoring, Diablo continues, typically an attack, however utility comes into play here. Dispatch to my realm. Once this affair is cleaned, deposit them somewhere else to continue their existence. From nowhere Shion is airborne, flying through the air toward him. Her fist connects to the shield, remarkably cracking it. The old man looks a tad nervous. The strength that woman holds. The mayor overhearing tries to preempt with yet another trick. Before he does one thing more, Benimaru's mystic art ogre flame impacts, by the time the fire pillar dissipates, also cracking the barrier. Imagine the horrors to come if he gets hands on the old man. The town halts its giant strides, the whole place quakes slightly and stops. Unique skill Tarian life essence. From the metallic protrusion situated under the town a humongous device, a probe-like apparatus, hundreds of feet long, tens of feet wide extends, puncturing into the very ground. Carrera, that trash mouth's magicule is building. Indeed and rapidly. Dufferson, beginning of your end continuing ominously, as you'll soon see. Cracks in Cosmopolis repair themselves. Black observes, name to go by, we can infer absorbing ground minerals is raising the magicule, and consequently existence value. Skull concurs, quite Diablo. Nutrients of the ground feed Talmur's power, converted to magicule energy. There's plenty outdoors. Outside, effect on the ground is making an ever-widening area under, and around the town barren acquires a red color, indicative of soil damage. Juror members can feel the magical buildup. Zegion, I estimate just below 20 million existence value. Highest of anyone there and including John's. Miraculous it appears not the higher ultimate skill level. Dufferson himself unaffected, evidently Cosmopolis. Murder speeds out fast as it entered. People carried out the way again. Skull confident because of the massive energy reserve build-up. Insects must never be allowed walking the same ground as giants for long. Towns might hockey. The invisible force to pressure or kill enemies rivaling strength of Demon Lord Haki. The air vibrates slightly and visibly, causing clothes and hair to slightly flutter. A mild rumble splits the air. Town buildings levitate, each of them a couple of feet off very foundations and open water bodies like a fountain, and that in a cup by strength of the magicule. Clothes and hair slightly flutter. And would be killed were the invaders not of high constitution themselves. Team Shuna is pressured but remain in the fight, saying are not so weak as to shame whom Carrera calls suzerain, Rimuru's righteous name. The town denizens collapse. Zegion collected, none have long. And angered, bastard, you'll kill them with the pressure. Not their lives I'd think about this moment. The man empty of insouciance. Benimaru could share the sentiment, everyone, resort to Demon Lord Haki. No protests the Insector Zegion. He knows kills weaker beings more quickly. But that by a finger snap, an obvious power manifests and groups at a time vanish. The massive bodies are taken out of the real world and into Diablo's realm. Reality exchange, a hidden skill of Tempter. He made more powerful than rightfully ought to be. Zegion extends thankfulness. Now everyone unleashes their Devil Lord Haki. Combined has an existence value in the millions. Each in the millions. To maintain their movement and combat prowess to counteract Talmur's. Vibration of the air ceases, clothes and hair stop fluttering. The mayor is perplexed they could do that. A danger became starkly alive, only to receive an upbraiding from Benimaru, calling him rapscallion. The glance from his mare, Dufferson steps out the barrier through a hole that immediately closes behind him. Zegion says look alive, something's coming. Then transformed by a secretary's chant, unique skill planarian. Whilst acknowledging their power, you're strong to get us to try. A burst of energy and at the head bears 4 fangs, one each corner. On both sides of the body length are endowed with a group of white bristles, strikingly beautiful and his or its body brightly colored. His form redolent of an especially gigantic fireworm, far outsizing a human in thickness of several feet and tens of feet long. Its roar terrible. Shion's scabbard vanishes per her will, and the giant Adachi sword revealed, takes it off her back with one hand. Hercules' edge. Carrera shocked, stammering, this thing is Demon Lord level. Is what the magicule emanating from the beast said. The mayor, our town will break your mettle. Benimaru analytically, this guy cast high-level skill as his second nature. None below unique level. Sao's intel had none of this. He makes a firm decision, myself, Zegion, Shion divide our attacks between that monstrosity and the barrier. John, Diablo watch our backs. The last 2 leapt a distance away and maintained eye contact. Then murderous tram returns quick as ever, aiming for student and butler, who instantly rush out the way. The vehicle gone fast as it comes. Expect that little grating if wasn't clear by now to be a recurring theme. There's battle with the worm, its tricky ability allows it to lunge. As a charging Shion discovers his mighty quick, wraps its body round the intended victim. Zegion reacts with super speed, his armored fist delivering a powerful punch that missed, the huge worm that shrink instantly, and in much smaller form, dodged the attacker repositioned, ready for the next move. Meantime, Benimaru's fireball smashes into the barrier that took no damage. The Insector checks on Shion who is unharmed. He concedes thinking with this thing's magicule energy rivaling theirs, its abilities a handful. Shkol declares, and behold ultimate skill grandeur of Talmur. And every eye does. Rising in the sky is a point of altered reality, tens of feet across. Some seconds pass, then settles across the street, hovering in the sky, well away from the action. Carrera says the obvious, what everyone can superhumanly sense, that craziness is concentrating gobs in magicule. Diablo, the mayor summoned a reality-altering spell. He'd know with his analytical the great wise man unique skill, acquired when Rimuru named him. Rimuru's great sage ability minus the talking. Ultimate rank's final stage of skills and must be potent indeed. Victory just got a whole lot tighter. You guys keep maintaining feudal resistance, says Shkol, I'm getting a crazy show. Reality itself bends. Simply casting eyes upon raised out of what's seen. Birefringent's reality warps light passing by it, generating optional effects and illusions, as if watching through cellophane. Light refracted and split in astonishing ways. Murderous tram's massive frame suddenly approached and passed through, trying to hit Jur, traveling on a different path as needed each appearance, and without relying on rail. Zegion's elbow strike on Dufferson evaded by shrinking, and its smaller form maneuvered right behind him, increasing to ginormous proportions in an eye blink, forcing him to evade. Whole affair took scant seconds. Wasn't as distracted as Zegion thought. Benimaru's Crimson Lotus Japanese-style sword is alight in a black flame. He made a slash upon the barrier. He only feet away stares intently as Shkol his smiles back. A patch of this doubtlessly horrible flame burns against the barrier, then falls away as flecks upon the ground. As everyone looks, converted to a colored pool, and from that crawls out a deformed, peculiar-looking entity. A humanoid of dark flame stood. Its arm shaped like the beanie's blade, took a swing, blocked by the juror's sword. He thinks about the power. A flame can have such impact behind his swing. Beanie leapt away, the peculiarity leapt forward to stay in sword range. The two magically born creatures swing fiercely at the other. Benimaru flips backward once to escape a swipe at his lower legs took his eyes off the opponent. A moment later he looks forward to see a sword thrust, a forward motion at his chest. The blade's tip scarcely inches from it, vanished and flexed like the rest of his body. From creation to extinguished 20 seconds pass by. Diablo's and John's faces look on felt the aura. For as ephemeral its existence was, carried demon lord power. Living representation of that very magical attack even if originally invisible. Thanks to the town contains magical energy of great level. Disaster in fact, Rimuru would dub super awakened. Living magic whereby magical attacks are probably converted a colored pool, producing a construct. Bad news because had a more than even chance for damage. With that as a battle pause. Lusty, brainy Shion sensing what's swirling in her head may backfire. Damn it all, forges ahead. Zegion warns, hold your hand woman. The thrown Adachi impacts the barrier, sticking in. The original remained in her hand, her power master chef allows her a facsimile. Form no different than the flame. Crawling out the pool, imposing, tall being made of her thick sword. Torso and limbs inspired by the blade portion, limbs connected to the torso by round sword guards called Tsuba, for a head region Hercules' Tsuka handle. The monstrous ore level placed this R piece like venom is the last. Disaster class. Trotting quickly her way, parries a punch from the very superhuman Zegion. Creation's rusher chase the original attacker and try to make contact. Dufferson in small form has approached and manifested behind him. Reacting quickly, grabs the beast. Before able to put his thought into action, murderous tram speeds their way. Reaching, delivers a strike. Shion strains blocking with her blade. In her mind, Lord Rimuru must see me strong. Zegion holds fast to him. Moments from impact and no escape. The armored warrior lets the tram side grind the beast's face as it thundered past. Fell down motionless. The creation sent a flurry of strikes, the expert swordswoman parries. Nexa pulls a feint, which wasn't the craziest move. Splits apart to fly and individual pieces reassemble speedily behind her. Her attractive visage wears surprise. Reacting fast, spun her body 180 degrees to slice into its midsection blocked with an arm, strike of a woman far surpassing human. Vanished and flexed for the case with Benimaru's playfellow. Skull's face a nod of annoyance beholding Dufferson on the ground. Beat it. Benimaru calls from a ways off. Don't think so she answers. And a heartbeat right in front her, closing the gap by super speedy does. Neither me. Each being lasted 20 seconds. Existence value of, not less than 1 million. The mayor held his own against assailants, still barely moving a muscle. No closer to defeat now than the start. Benimaru calls out, Carrera, Diablo, get over here. In a moment Skull very much looking on. As when we hit with our strongest attacks. Break his stupid shield, then smug face. Zegion questions, a hazard to ourselves. Those constructs are rivals to even my power. Skull can turn our strength against us, I fear we haven't seen the full extent. Benimaru dismissive, scoffs, the old man is meat on the platter. That shield is defensive. Find another way Benimaru. Beni aggressively commands his obedience, our skills outclass the killers. Combine ours to prevail. Or can't you do that? Taken aback the insector is. He'd expect him to be emotional for obvious reason, but jeopardizing their lord's orders. He knew the barrier carries defensive and remarkably powerful offensives. While they strategize, I'll prepare the worm says the mayor. Lack suggests a new division of labor, Zegion stands correct Benimaru. I won't do it exactly as you want. The attacker shall be myself, Carrera will be set aside on a special purpose mission. When to follow on its heels before the old man perceives. Benimaru grumbles. Black takes the girl aside. That demon shouldn't have all the fight to himself pointing her massive adachi toward the barrier. Wasn't mindful enough he could have a plan superior to hers. The grandeur skill maintained its airborne presence in the sky. As was she. Airborne in a huge superhuman leap towards Cosmopolis. The idea was leveraging unique skill master chef. The sub-effect is guarantee results. Whatever she desires becomes truth. Her nasty ass cooking tastes wonderful. Smashing his barrier to be done by a strike. Her unique can override the more powerful ultimate. Hercules' edge connects, she makes a perfect landing, accompanied by a mild ground quake, trotting some feet, and bringing her intense momentum to a stop. In the stretch of time she turned around, the barrier's pieces were falling to the surface. See everyone I did it prideful. The unique skill master chef makes my wishes in the world normal. The breakthrough in the making. My big blade can alter fate itself. The verdurous colored barrier flickered and then vanishes in several moments. Shion's Scapagrous nature caught up, impulsively in her own master chef attack. Her body in many small pieces, long purple hair, eyes and all each piece a few inches in size, from everyone protruded 2 claws snapping. Horrific article defied any concept of life form normal beings envision. Chef can make manifest what she wants, but direct it back at the Oni. Diablo knelt at her side, touched and winces from their repeated snapping on his body by some. Zegion stands beholding. Behind the inexpressive face must be grating shock. Murderous tram out of nowhere and almost atop them. Must have closed the distance to make a strike on him as he attends to her, capitalizing on a perceived vulnerability. He evades with her body, fast enough it appeared teleported to a spot several feet away. The vehicle roars past within feet of Shkol, ruffling his clothes. His barrier back up. Fate stands with me, declares the mayor. Benimaru incensed, red embers float about his body. Damn that miserable wretch. Diablo. The voice emanating from the disjointed pieces where her mouth normally placed, sounded like several voices simultaneously from each piece that had comprised her orifice a minute ago. Her body is already at rest on the ground out of order most part. Solemnly explained suspected master chef may not be a trump card, but risked all for Shuna. Impetuous number 1 secretary tells him it backfired. Wanted to convert his own barrier into creatures to attack him. Imagination went too wild today. The girl willing to open up at a time as this. Shion complicated the demon's plan. The great wiseman unique skill once again in play. Calmly looks Shion's remains over. Benimaru, his death train could reappear any minute. Calling out Diablo's fellow demon. Look alive, drawn. Ready a spell. The girl nods. Shkol is in earshot, she's the one to watch for, eh? All of creation. A wiseman's sub-skill permitting comprehension of well nigh anything. He'd arranged the pieces corresponding to the girl's shape on the ground. Ran a hand over and the girl cured instantly. She shocked and awestruck. No real time to celebrate that speedy tram barreled towards the two, and as the mayor figured nimbly rushed out its path. Staring at the mayor, bared what one shouldn't wish to see. 2 fangs, situated at corners of the mouth. Shion, despite what she and Diablo underwent, sends a purple energy wave from Hercules slammed into the surface, that typically gouged out the ground, and kill what it contacts. The traveling purple terminates itself, smashing against a barrier some meters away. Wasn't mere retaliation astoundingly? A scary experience hadn't counter persona incredibly enough. Result into purple humanoid shape of energy coalescing. When done shortly, wide waist, plump chest, resemblance somewhere, that proceeds rushing her way, feet gliding across the ground. The massive magical energy is felt, as beforehand demon lord equivalent. Shion steadiness herself, grabbing the blade with both hands, a girl who can wield easy with one. In the process in brief instant harms an attacking ally. Beanie accelerates to intercept by his super speed. Slicing into his form by Crimson Lotus once he arrives in the eye blink taken to cover the distance. The entity doesn't react to his offense, continuing on its way. His blade consumed by a purple aura on its length. And once within feet, aims its arms and from open hands generates a like wave at her, splitting the very ground. Shion parries the wave with a Hercules swing directed back at the entity, reshaping itself into a cocoon-like form around the construct, engulfing and like that vanishes. The attack derailed. The ground split by said wave repairs itself in a few seconds. All that ever showed the entity existed. Diablo watched the entire episode imperturbably but studiously. So, are not our equals despite being powerful. The aura only goes out when the form dissipates. Beanie says trying to dispel a consummate way of his black flames, failed because it refused his activation command. Shion gets a tongue lashing from Beanie. Their lord would be very displeased were she to die again. Shion remains halcyon, eyes fixated on the mayor. She doesn't retort in any way. Lord Rimuru revived her once. Diablo is more open, calling the reality-altering counter of hers interesting. Her unique skill carried the day. Zegion quietly observes it's the potential of a user's stronger skill to overwhelm these constructs. If made of the same user's lesser one, the purple wave is lesser to Master Chef. He proffers up his thesis to the rest, adding in fact odds are the town's skill of reality-altering type. Diablo knowing full well decided to lob a magic of his own, doing nothing more than snap his fingers. When that even made a construct which sought him out, born of attacking Shkol, its appearance such that its whole skin gives a view of the realm on its surface, much like a reflection on a smooth dark glass, and what's more carries the butler's body shape. The being stares his way. Calm as can be snapped the fingers, activates his realm again to trap it, which collapsed in on the construct and vanishes. Both attacks where I can send targets to an unpleasant realm. World of temptation, imaginary world where I absolute authority, dictating life and death. Remarkable, no. This case in effect trapping a realm within another. And as many minutes eye-popping, reality-defying attacks occurred. His enemies were countering Cosmopolis. Criticizes Benimaru, taking your kicks in battle only puts off annihilating this place. Lack invokes calmly Tempest's name. Rimuru's blessing at play, serving to quiet the speaker. Shion adds wanted to learn more of the town's skill. She isn't being impulsive again contrary to appearance. The mayor overhears and promises, I'll make my little artistic play separating you from your lives sooner. For all the Tempest's power, haven't scratched him. Under his braggadocious breath the worried pangs. Aang is certain butler. Able to undo the town's skill on his comrade. Who the hell is he? Diablo goes on calmly to say felt the man's power carries an analysis sub-skill to discern the magic and match magical energy to which user. The demon discerned that much by dangerous interaction and wiseman. These beings, magical constructs, are immune to any attack upon itself by any other than their target. For the briefest instance of space-time skill in effect during such confrontations, thus completely flout uninterrupted very nature as if nothing, pursuing the target single-tracked. Diablo expresses did wish to examine something so attractive, demonstrably frightening. Are constructs from magic-powered attacks, beyond that some form of reality alteration brought bare to in effect birth a life form living magic. Essentially short-duration demon lords constructed of magic used against the mayor. Murderous tram sped in at 350 miles per hour, heading for black deftly evaded as it were an elegant ballet dancer in a single movement. The monstrous vehicle passes its whole great length, missing by scant inches, and out the battle area it went. Zegion says he figured some by watching the battle play out. He didn't so much as flinch about the terrain. Could it be he and his comrades are adapting with time? Were Skull's opponents weak, their demon lord strength construct shreds them instantly. A fine point. Juro are so strong able to last up to this stage. You guys keep maintaining feudal resistance. I'm getting a crazy show. Reality itself bends. Flashback of Skull boasting the skill. The mayor felt a disturbance and cast his gaze away from the immediate battle site. Jaw dropped and had to pick it off the ground. The exotic grandeur of Talmur, drawn ready to dispel. The mayor turns his head back to the nearer girl. The Carrera closer at hand amongst the group of Juro to his front turns into particles and before nothingness baring her raspberry tongue. The mayor failed to spot her original move to get closer to grandeur when he finally catches on. The special mission. Looks like Shion's wildness redeemed itself. Health sidetracked the man's attention. Turns his head nonplussed in several moments and spots the girl a ways off, facing upward at grandeur. Diablo decided this force needs to be disabled. Carrera elects her high-level magic. In his mind, Skull predicts greatest threat at the moment. Carrera aims an arm skyward, craning her neck upward, standing in front the birefringence hanging in the sky. Skull tenses the face, and responses in front the town's magical force are 6 anti-magic barriers, generated one behind the other, spaced apart widely. Carrera fires a magic bullet out the open palm. The power connects with one shield, shatters it, and then slams into the next immediately after. The bullet presses against the shield. Carrera groans under the strain, then in a while yells, willing it on. A sinkhole opened under her feet. Only caught the girl owing to concentration, the feet drop several inches, and the body hovers catching herself. That moment a high, multi-story building proceeds to tip over in the demoness's direction. Light in the far distance, tram headlamps. Approaches again, at super speed this time, covering a long distance space of over several seconds and once more off the rail track. Unique level ascertains high potency if that wasn't clear by now. The guttural, desperate voice had rang out. Unique skill Beanie raised his sword, hyper-ramming. Reacting, fires a fresh bullet out the other palm, towards the side, in a few moments of contacting the building above, accompanied by a great blast noise, demolished in turn to spreading airborne dust, and what remains as falling debris bits and chunks. The mayor explains the effect. By speed produced, now 1,000 miles an hour, near thrice its former speed, elevates its kinetic energy, in turn force of impact immensely, the tram under time acceleration makes all possible. Barreling for the blonde. For the same open palm, points the arm sideways at the onrushing mass of metal. A triple barrier manifests immediately betwixt her and it. About to slam headlong into her construct, tons of metal stopped on a dime, referring to as instant insulting simplification somehow. The wind aerodynamically carried with its passage kept going, slamming into the barrier tens of feet in front, producing hurricane force and horrific hell. This arrests the girl's attention, face tense. By the time dying out in a while, many cracks besmirch the road's surface. Incredulous, she looks to see the tram nowhere to be seen he'd nonplussed a primordial demoness. Her blonde head looks around frantically. Several hundred yards away, the machine raises in whole length in seconds horizontally out the ground no less. An imposing whistle blast to the rear turns her head, to see his headlamp. Facing her time surged from the stop to 1,000 miles per hour instantly. Needn't be said how long to cover the intervening distance. Slow motion everything no ally can reach her in time. The thundering tram's nose inches from contact a split second left. Zegion rushes in at his own super speed, his fist smashing into the side, redirecting its course, speed back normal, causing it to careen past the girl, missing her by a hair's breadth, intense wind ruffling hair and clothing. The vehicle's right ends in a horrific crash, tumbling, the noise traveling a great distance. Groaning intensely, face tense and straining, she focuses the magical energy ever harder, to smash through, shattering the 5 remaining barriers in seconds. Carrera's hit destroys this exotic force aiming skyward with an immensely strong attack in dramatic fashion, the released energy waves shaking the air and everyone. Hovering to a spot beside the hole, Carrera falls to one knee, verbally conceding, left my ass breathless. The dust continued its spread. She a demon as Diablo. The oppressive town's might hockey dissipates and what associated with ceases, levitating buildings return to their foundations and waters settle into place. Please John remarks despite fatigue Millard would shower praise for my daring. Zegion comments the girl had the magical reserves to overwhelm Shkull's skill. The hockey, its strange effects are no more. Taken as a sign victory will be yet theirs. Lord Rimuru's blessing graces us. The mayor is now devoid of his defense skill, before every eye vanishes. But is all he can do but look. How can that be? The town had the higher magicule overall. He fumes, gesticulating his arm and stomped his foot. The magicule concentration powered his skills. Wait, because multitasking from a sorted skill, the town couldn't concentrate all of it there, letting her just spell it. The energy pool. How else was he supposed to approach the war? Powerful skills are fueled by vast magicule output. Accumulate every scrap to grandeur, and this wouldn't even be a schoolyard scuffle. Calling mere battle a disgrace of war. The above not least Carrera, born during the dawn of time before the creation of heaven and earth as the demonic counterparts to the angelic 7 pillars of Seraphim. Diablo alongside the demonist trio, in Rimuru's service, are primordial brethren. Primordial. The dread of this world. Lord Rimuru summoned in a demon black, soon to be Diablo, simp in chief, and whom coveted to serve a most worthy of masters, casted an eye on the mask Rimuru received well in advance of his summoning, observing the slime from the underworld. Followed up recruiting the female demonist trio, John, Blanc, Violet, for his master, forming Tempest's premier military formation, Black Numbers. Rimuru's personal death squad. Frankly speaking, powered up ogre have been called Kijin. Things considered excludes a certain detail. Saue, Benimaru and Shion exist at a higher evolutionary point on the scale. Aroni. In this town are life forms competing with powers formidable as the Demon Lord Council. The fierce Shion, Tempest in your ass, bitch. The Jura clustered together near in front his barrier and face him down. I compliment your aplomb lasting an eternity, Beanie says, but my sister's blood cries out. Despite in plain sight of powerful enemy plural, for such an extended period, but remains standing same spot is testament to power. Mayor clenched the teeth. This fight should be over for him. Glancing at the body, desperate incantation, unique skill planarian varlet. Yet more tricks to aid the burgomaster. Damn it. The war well in hand, and then the Cosmopolis shield would go before these Tempest scum are finished. Grandeur the power source powering the town's resistance, and can feel his considerable magicule energy reserves depreciating. His defensive stance failed. Therefore, offense is card. Dufferson's worm self divides its body into numerous monsters in seconds, dozen strong, highly aggressive without a moment to spare rush forward. Zegion notes aloud each and every last have impressive magicules in them, placing each classified rank A, hazard level. He's not wrong, no wonder too, as the worm likewise split magicule betwixt them. That level means just one can harry multiple lower ranked adventurers of Rekka Town. Adventurers are free guild members, an organization that also made the rank system. The Tarian skill continues draining the land, hence retains a high magicule level and potentially more tricks. Benimaru yells, damnable spellpeen. Carrera comments an army no less is needed to defeat this sword. Shion is open to that, slamming a fist into her palm, spirit in overdrive. Foot monsters spewing a corrosive goo and flying swords passingly resembling Gabble, Rimuru's subordinate, thus humanoid reptilian. He issues orders. Split up team, John tackle the flyers, get some to follow you, and whittle their damn numbers. One fires many high-velocity needles out the mouth orifice, each several inches long. Team members instantly leap away to avoid so fast seemed vanished in teleportation. Dawn flies upward. By magic summoned a legend-grade sword, zipping through the sky her and they. Half a dozen worms spawned swamp Zegion, covering the armored insector hole. The mass of them were sent flying by him, merely shrugging the shoulders. The mob converge on Benimaru. From a distance a pressure hits him, sent by one. Wait, these freaks have hockey. The ball hanging midair, surface smooth. Yellow places a hand under her chin, eyes it and says, makes a pretty picture. A strike from Zegion smashes individuals apart, chunks landing on the ground. Follows up bringing speed and strength to bear, maneuvers 10 in a line, a punch of his sends the lot flying. The flyer has wings sliced off and crashes into a building. Not admiring her handiwork, stabs another in the torso, beheads the next after, cuts down needles speeding from another. The original blonde openly comments wish Demon Lord Leon could watch his girl. Purple Empress devises attack to make the environment hers. On the street the reptilian-esque buddies face her down from several tens of feet away in their dozens, poised to attack. She isn't near the building when she swings Hercules sideways. Contents of the building tumble out, smashing through windows, be it water taps, furniture, curtains, chandelier, plates, cups. Spilling them on the street and crash into many spawn in seconds. Master Chef unique skill makes a defiler of natural workings. Shkull's barrier fades away from magicule depletion. Benimaru's black flame imbued on Crimson Lotus and accelerates himself to unholy super speed, too fast for the human eye to follow. Running amongst and delivers slashes, attacks reduce every numerous spawn to embers floating in the air. His heat that fearsome. Splotch lands on the insector's body. Not a sign of harm. Producing blades from his exoskeleton, spins round to cut up each of the Honorshing. Yellow snaps her fingers. The good mini spawns suddenly pulled quickly to an invisible point midair. The massive bodies pressing against each other, straining to move, then give in to the pressure, in moments all crushed into a spherical mass 10 inches diameter. That's where the ball came from. Gravitational attack made a meatball. But yet more enemies in the sky with her. Time for the end. For you boys, one extra show. Finger snap. World of Temptation activates chantless imaginary world into absolute authority, dictating life and death. Vision of the monster horde dominated by the butler seated majestically on a throne a few seconds. Once the vision ceases, every abomination collapses like a puppet. The guy didn't raise a finger. Shion is surrounded by many, sword drawn, face tense, unafraid. The remainder is what she has next. In rapid succession 4 blast her with Haki. Resisted in her steadfast pose. Ha. On her flank incoming needle barrage deflected by Hercules back at the attacker. Same time a sucker charges her back. Smashed in the visage by her weapon's Suka handle tip. The effect isn't a shattered visage, rather an enormous and deep dimple, inches in diameter caving it in. Back to the first attacker pierced by its own skull. With the fortune of being dead quick, stuck needles multiplied to thousands across the body, crown to toe, embarrassing the nastiest porcupine. Next collapse, their body unrecognizable covered in so many thousands. Shion ain't one to pause. Lioness leapt, launching herself into their ranks. Slashing Scholar of Demise Haman. That moment Hercules cut head to crotch the first. Delivered by her giant blade mixed with reality-bending chef. Be a diagonal, vertical or horizontal slash, the blade passes clean through the body. However, in lieu of a mercy-splitting twing, has effects that generate randomly. Along the cut line both sides of the body on either side of the line, collapse, sucked into the area as it were, with only several inches of body remaining either side of the line. The enemy held no fear, nor her. One beast is kicked to the ground. Another struck has a dimple created in the shoulder as prior, the next pierced by a powerful stab through the head, swords driven tip clean through. Spins 360 degrees, the blade slices through 7 luckless. Haman's next effect along the cut line a number of arm and leg appendages, no exaggeration, grow out of. Grabs a full one-handed and slams bodily into the ground and crashes her blade into them. Much of the body collapse into the cut line. Benimaru admits half appalled the girl has creatively demonic imagination. The needle strike directed by one redirected at its comrade, the needle affliction commences. Rinse and repeat for some time till each before the Oni full. The jury gathered by Benimaru. 2 men make eye contact. A resigned Shkal is off the podium and stands on the ground. A sister's brother closes in running him through by sword. Outside the town the group stands looking out into the distance. Day clear, their hell viewpoint peaceful. Speculation about if the man was ever a person, but perhaps just part of the town, a puppet. Short debate on if the team's combined magicule output being more than 20 million responsible for victory. Zegion answers despite the magicule difference, the odds were not in the mayor's favor, between them a mountain of experience. Carrera hands Miller Rimuru credit. Diablo reminds the denizens are to be transported out magical realm by the demon, and deposited somewhere safe. All know we're not destined to have anything to return to. None must fall prey again. Benimaru he says assuring, if anything I know master will bring her back. Shion asks gently, Beni would you like to? He turns his head shunning. Killing that place isn't plugging the void Shuna left. The town is speck miles away, perceivable easily as if close by to superhuman vision. Carrera's gravity collapse gravitational field creates a black hole overhead the town, pulling and tearing apart chunks towards it. Zegion's dimension ray the beam is traveling quickly over the ground and arrives at Talmur. And begins ripping what it contacts apart competing with the whole. Server's dimensions and disconnects space. Collapse's barrier extends upward, forming a huge pillar to the reaches of space to contain the supernova-like blast. Colossally strong obliterates the town and land surrounding several times original diameter. Authors note the story transpires prior to the second invasion of the Eastern Empire. Can't bring myself saying wrote anything of this sustained level of action since the hardest new man. Tensor-wise that time I got reincarnated as a slime or a purple shares Shuna's length. Shion's purple outfit based on the Purple Queen reference in Slime Diaries. Hack went so far as to hand her Haman. Long wondered what power to give in that scene months, and suddenly hit about 2 days back. The words dimension / the trigger. Entered my head like that. At no time have I ever seen a power in equivalence. Action is predominantly how I approach the past fanfics of this and frankly other series I wrote. DREAMSCRIBER is my online name. Romance, drama, crossing series, porn, humor. And no foreseeable future. Miss Haman's body horror and what you think the word means. Colliding with a dragon my last insert and took around half a year writing 30-odd pages. And what I attributed there happened again, fatigued from years penning dozens of stories, most my own series the hardest. Tensur and I fell hard for and devoted my best fanfic and creativity its way, encouraged to write more being my most popular fanfic. Internet addiction too made me slow. Days, weeks might pass before advancing the story a lot. I'm not writing 12 hours a day. Skull wasn't ending quite there, the fight was continuing. He have a transpose ability, switching places with Spawn. Shion's sword strike can reduce within scant seconds a multi-story structure into very numerous chunks of swirling debris, long in the tube. Most telling, the ending is clipped. I borrowed that of a couple giant rat stories I wrote. The character dreamed events and wakes. Haruna. Scrap cause could crimp my directions were I to return. Last, concluding the writing save for grammar checks, chose to keep Shuna around. I'm about to drop resurrection. I am honored if you decided I treated the material respectfully. One Morton Sir in the works consisting of giants. Date Wednesday, 29 November 2023.